What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Some new intro music there, huh?
Oh,
It's very stressful when that music comes on, and I have to fight against the time.
That's right. The 2-minute clock begins. 2-minute drill, Bree. 2-minute drill.
2-minute warning.
That's right. The Big Play Reflux Show is brought to you by our friends over at ShackNews.com. Shack News, your go-to for gaming news, covers all your gaming content needs. They have the latest reviews and articles covering everything in gaming and tech, including an article highlighting the 52 most anticipated games for 2020, as well as a Shack chat covering the go-to games for days you're homesick. So go check them out. Head on over to shacknews.com. Get into the conversation. Click on that Shack News Twitter profile, because when it comes to gaming news, there is only one site to visit: shacknews.com.
Hi, everyone. Tim Kinsler from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz. You're listening to the best podcast on the air, Boom Shakalaka.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I ain't no goddamn doctor. Free Shakalaka.
Welcome to the Big Play Reflux Show. Today is Monday, January 20th, 2020. I'm your host, Big Play Dave, alongside my main man, Mr. Chris McNeil. What's up, Chris?
We survived me versus Nuggets, right? We survived.
I'm still nauseous just watching that.
Out the other end.
That's right.
Oh.
And as she groans, our favorite co-host, Breezy Clee. What's going on?
Hi, guys. I'm happy I missed that one, not going to lie.
Yes, the studio, as you probably both can tell, still smells like chicken nuggets, but we made it. Had to hire professional cleaners to come in after that one.
More accurately, no one made it.
No
we didn't
one.
have any winners for me versus Nuggets outside of the Cavs. The Cavs actually won that ball game. So we got me versus Nuggets 2 coming up in March. Hopefully we'll have a winner then.
That's right. So rumors of Joey Jaws, Joey Chestnut for that one. Maybe Darren Ravel coming out for it. That would be funny. That would be funny.
Yeah. All the celebrities showing up for this.
Yeah. I feel like we haven't been live for a while. When was that? Was that just a week ago?
It was. Basically 2
Oh, no, it was
weeks ago.
Saturday. It was a Saturday. That's right. Yeah.
Week or so.
Lots happened since then. So we got a great show for you guys tonight. So tonight on the Big Play Reflux Show, we'll kick things off with Power Rank Monday. What are we doing here? Our favorite moments in playoff history, presented by our buddies over at hoverhelmets.com. We will then get into our featured interview of the night. We got Browns legend, linebacker Clay Matthews Jr. coming on in here. Can't wait to talk to him. I know a lot of you guys in the chat are looking forward to this interview. We don't hear from him a whole lot, so this is going to be our push. Get him into that Hall of Fame. We will then go over Cleveland headlines presented by our friends at Cleveland Clothing Company. Hit you with a couple would you rathers. I don't think we're doing a gut check this week. I just wanted to put Bob Wiley up there with his gut check. Then we'll give you our bold predictions for the week. But let's kick things off with some Power Rank Monday.
It's time for Power Rank Monday.
Now that Cleveland got their new head coach, what a better way to get excited for the Browns and the newest version of the Browns by adding a hover helmet to your man cave or office. Hover Helmets makes the perfect centerpiece for any fan's collection. Go check them out, hoverhelmets.com. Use that promo code BIGPLAY for 15% off and free shipping. All right, so our Cleveland teams all failed to make the playoffs this year. So today
Last year. That's all last year.
Oh, it's 2020, Chris. Thank you for correcting me
That's
there.
right. New year.
That was
turn
important.
The page.
That's right. It is a new year. We are going to reminisce of the good old days, power rank our favorite playoff moments and games. I'll kick this one off. I thought we were doing NFL playoffs, and then I saw your guys in there. So I just went NFL.
Didn't have enough for NFL
Yeah,
playoffs
right.
to round that out. Unless you want to go drive, fumble, Dennis Northcutt's drop. I didn't
No.
want to go that route. So I broadened it, Dave.
That's fair. Number 3, I'm going with the Holcomb. Kelly Holcomb, Tommy Maddox shootout. Holcomb over 400 yards in that one. William Green, if you remember, I believe he was a rookie that year. 25 carries, 30 yards. And then he fell on a knife.
Can't wait to tell my grandkids about that game. It's classic.
And that's it. That's all I have. There's no other ones. I mean, the last time I think we were in the playoffs, after that I was like 6 or 7. So I don't have any other Browns ones. I will shout out, I'll go with my skip number 2, my number 1, Raheem Mostert. Helping the 49ers get to the Super Bowl. You guys remember him as a Brown?
No,
No,
but he
I
was
don't.
here.
Great practice squad
along
guy.
with like 10 other teams.
Oh yeah. It's cool seeing an underdog, undrafted guy who, you don't really expect to do very well after he gets cut by the Browns. But then again, he's going to the Super Bowl. Congratulations to Mostert. Chris, what do you got for us?
Okay, my number 3. The guy we're going to be talking to here very shortly, Clay Matthews. And we're going to ask him about this, his pick of Jim Kelly in the 1990 AFC divisional round. He picked him off at like the 1-yard line, and it sealed the deal and sent the Browns on to the AFC championship that year. That's one of the most iconic plays in Browns playoff history, and we're going to have to ask him about that. And I remember that fondly as a kid. Number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Rajai Davis, right? The World Series game winner would have been.
How could you
If it
not?
wasn't for that rain delay that didn't exist. That
It wasn't even
sucks.
raining.
No, it wasn't raining. And number 1, Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. James with the rejection.
Never gets old. Never gets old.
I'll pass it off to Bree. Bree, what do you got?
Well, like Chris, I took Chris's lead because I was too young to remember the Browns. Nothing actually comes to mind
Right?
when that
Yeah.
happened. So maybe next year. So number 3, Chris actually, we had one of the same here, the Rajai Davis home run. So I was actually out of the country, which is why this will always be top of mind for me.
Oh, wow.
And I was in Central America, so I was watching the Spanish broadcast. I didn't understand anything that they were saying, but the way that they were celebrating the home run was amazing.
Sometimes the Spanish broadcasts are the best broadcasts.
It was like watching a soccer game.
Yeah, the goal calls
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yes.
No.
That's actually exactly what it was like with the home run.
Nice.
There you go.
All right, number 2. Going back to 2016 in the Cleveland Cavs. So I'm going to go with Game 5 of that championship run because
Yes.
that was when we were down 3-1 to Golden State, and LeBron and Kyrie went off for over 40 points apiece at Golden State. So if you remember that atmosphere was pretty hostile. They were booing every time LeBron got
yeah.
the ball.
Oh, yeah.
It's still incredible to think about.
Was that the sleeves, the black sleeves jersey? Was that
Yeah,
that game?
I think so.
So, yeah.
And then they brought him back. And then that takes me to number 1. Speaking of the championship game, the last 4 minutes of Game 7, because nobody scored, I think, until 2 minutes. If you guys remember, it was just a drought. Nobody could score a basket. We all know the block happened, the shot happened, and the stop happened, and then the celebration, the tears, and Cleveland, this is for you. Long live LeBron.
Yes, we're definitely cutting that into a promo clip. That's going to be in the
Yes,
intro.
you do.
That's
That was
Sounds
so
that's
just
our
like
new
him.
intro.
It was
That's our new
amazing.
intro.
I didn't want to scare anyone.
I love it. That was Power Rank Monday. Go get a hover helmet. Let's move on to our featured interview of the night. Chris, you can bring in the man, the myth, the legend here. Let's do it.
Lucky to get a chance to introduce this guy. We're talking to an all-timer, Clay Matthews, drafted by the Browns in the 12th pick of the 1978 draft. Would go on to play for us for over a decade. 4-time Pro Bowler, second-team All-Pro in the Browns Ring of Honor. He was inducted last year. He's coming back to town Sunday, March 22nd for the Pro Football Hall of Fame Fan Fest. Tickets are available online for that. I welcome Browns legend and one of my favorite players ever, Clay Matthews. Clay, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's great to be back in Cleveland, even if it's just on the air.
It's snowing here, so don't feel too bad.
Yeah, it's a little warmer where you're at.
It is?
A little bit. You've never played in that.
Well, it's unseasonably cold out here, too.
Okay. How cold is it? I'll bite.
How cold was it today? I'm asking my dad. What? No, the low, not the high. You know what's funny was when I used to leave Cleveland to come back to California, I'd have about 5 days where I could go around in shorts and a T-shirt, no matter what the temperature was, and then you acclimate. And then I was like every other Californian who, couldn't handle anything cold. But actually, I preferred the cold weather to play in.
Well, let's talk about one of those cold games. One of the most memorable plays, I think, Clay, certainly for me as a young kid watching you, was the pick of Jim Kelly in the playoffs in 1990. What was there, like 9 seconds on the clock? You were at the 1 yard line. You intercept the ball. You seal that trip to the AFC Championship. One of the most memorable highlights, I think, is the Browns for the playoffs ever. Tell us about that play. Tell us about that game a little bit.
Well, it was an interesting game because they had not thrown to the back. And all year they didn't throw to him. So I had covered the backs and actually took a lot of pride in it and had a pretty good run over I think they had me do that for about 12, 13 years. And gosh, I can't remember his name, but maybe because I kind of blacked out. But so they come in and I'm thinking, well, I want to have anything to do. And so they throw him a pass and he catches the ball, then they throw him another one. And
was it Thurman Thomas?
Yeah, Thurman Thomas.
Yeah, Thurman Thomas, yep.
And this
lost himself to Michael Jordan of football at one point. Go ahead, sorry. He once called himself the Michael Jordan of football, but yeah, Thurman Thomas.
Well, if I had known that, I would have told him I needed some help. So the Browns come to me in about the second quarter and they go, hey, we kind of have a matchup problem. And I said, well, they go, we're going to put a defensive back in the game. So you okay with that? And I go, absolutely, put him in. The defensive back, he couldn't cover him. So they get another defensive back. He can't cover him. At least, I knocked down 1 or 2 balls. So now it's down to the nitty-gritty. They have the ball down in the red area against us, and the call comes in. It's cover 2-man, which basically is man-to-man across the board with 2 free safeties. So that means I'm not going to get any help underneath. And all I remember is, okay, I got to play him inside out because it's tougher to make the ball's going to be in the air longer on an outside throw than an inside throw. And he came down the field, and instead of breaking out, he broke in, and then I broke across, and then the quarterback threw the ball. That was the most surprising thing. And I caught it, thought about running for a while, realized the game would be effectively over, and then just dropped down. Took like a baseball slide, but it was a rough day.
Well, you say it was a rough day. Well, I mean, it turned out well at the end.
In the sense that, well, yeah, but usually I hate to say things like this, but I was pretty good at covering backs. And did it for a long time, even though I wanted to rush the passer. And I really struggled that day. But the fact that they came back to me, I think they realized this guy had it. He had it going on that day. And the playoffs are like that. You get a guy can do something like this running back for the 49ers. He had been on six different teams.
Yeah.
Including the
Seven.
Browns.
And,
including the Browns.
Yeah, 7 different teams. And he ends up setting a record. Just the guy who's hot at the right time, and that's what Thurman Thomas was. Going into that game, I thought, they don't throw to the back. I get, when we play man-to-man, I get the game off, and then you can kind of poach around and try to get somebody else's guy or get a pick or something like that. But it ended up well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, was that the highlight of your career, would you say, in Cleveland, or is there something else that sticks out to you? Because that's the one I remember. I think of Clay Matthews. That's the big play that I recall as a kid, just screaming, running around the house after you made that pick.
Actually, that was more of a, kind of a release because it had not been a good day, and I would like to think I would have prided myself on having better days than that. Even though, and then I had one play that was really good, but I had, he caught 4 or 5 balls on me, and that, I don't know, it's just the way I kind of thought. I guess if I was a batter and the pitcher struck me out 3 times and I came up and hit a home run the 4th time and that won the game, you know what? You just convinced me that it was a good day.
Now, for a lot of our younger listeners, they don't realize that guys like Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, guys who are successful nowadays, go all the way back to your playing time. And you played for both Belichick as a head coach, Nick Saban as a position coach, I believe. What were those guys like when you were playing for them back then?
I always felt like I was in a position to win. And they came in and we worked hard and we were very physical. And, we were kind of in a situation where our defense, I remember we went something like 19 quarters, 4 games or something, without giving up a touchdown. We gave up field goals. But we were kind of transitioning with Bernie. He was winding up his career there in Cleveland, for better or for worse. That's another story. But and offensively, we had a championship defense, and then we just couldn't get it over the top on offense. And but those coaches were outstanding, and we always felt defensively, I think we had absolute clarity as to what we needed to do defensively, and actually had some very good games. And it, as I went on and became the Little League coach, I had some pretty good role models, and it took a while for them to be recognized as that. And Nick and of course Bill, and they've done, they've had amazing careers.
You mentioned something interesting.
You didn't get the term player's coach or that warm fuzzy feeling, but
I couldn't imagine out of those two guys. My gosh, you couldn't have had that.
No,
much
you never felt, though. I'm telling you, you never felt like they were bad guys. You just, if you like to work and you like to win, and you like to know what you were doing, they were great guys.
And you're the type of guy who'd have your homework done. You were ready to go every day, kind of that mentality, the lunch bucket type of guy. So they probably loved a guy like you, I would imagine. Not to mention the fact that
I'd like to think so. But who knows? Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Bernie. What did you think when Belichick cut Bernie?
Oh, football's a strange game. In basketball and in baseball, you've got to feel like, you've got to feel relaxed to play your best.
Yeah.
In football, to a degree, you got to feel like, you're one game away from the team releasing you, because you have to do a lot of things that potentially are dangerous to you. They had a play, okay, I'm right outside linebacker. The right guard pulls, and I have to go in there. He weighs 320 pounds, and I'm not quite that much, a lot less, probably. And I got to go in there and hit him and destroy him to make the play work defensively. And that's something you really don't want to do. And you've almost, as a defensive player, or as 99% of the players, you've got to have a feeling that, gosh, if I don't do this, I could be in jeopardy of being retained around here. And it's a different thing in baseball and basketball. I got to feel relaxed to go up there and hit the ball or hit my 3-pointer or whatever. But in football, there has to be that feeling that I've got to get it done today. And that, Bernie was such a unique player in that, he was effectively from Northeast Ohio, over in Boardman. And,
Yep.
He wanted to play there at a time when, maybe folks wanted to play in other places. And, and he also was so unique in his style, because he wasn't the smoothest guy, but he made incredibly great decisions and incredibly great throws. And he was a guy everyone loved, and they should have, he really was a homebred Cleveland guy. I was a multi-state bred Cleveland guy, but he was a homebred Cleveland guy. So he, and ultimately you just can't keep playing forever. And that's a tough way to end. It's going to be a tough way for Bernie to end, because he was, so beloved there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got to ask you, Clay, we've talked about this on the show before, and this is one of my favorites. We got Oscar season upon us right now. One of the most unappreciated movies, I think, from back in the day was Masters of the Gridiron. Could you tell us
some of my best work?
Yes, Clay Rock. Come on. I mean, that was legendary stuff. I think it was underappreciated by the Academy and many, many people right now. You can go catch it on YouTube still. Fortunately, it is up there. Yes, for generations.
About every 5 years, I'll watch it again and go, what the heck were we doing?
Well, there you go. What were you thinking? Tell us about that.
You know what? What's funny is you were asking me, like, well, what was your best player? What was your biggest moment? I'm sitting there thinking, okay, that was a play, but the game hadn't gone as well for me individually, so it was like a late deal, or going out to Denver, that was a tough one, and and then even I'll even think of, gosh, I had 3 sacks in that game. Yeah, but but I can remember on our day off. Yeah, I can remember Tuesday going over to that park, wherever it was, the Metro Parks, and shooting that thing, and just having a blast. And we had no idea, because they did. What do they call that? Creative or artistic? Artistic input was not sought from us, and so we had no idea what the script really. How it went. You just did your little gig, and they'd kind of put it together. And
hey, was it Dan Fife? Was that the one who put it all together, as I recall?
No. Oh gosh, you're killing me on names. Mike Babb. Mike Babb. Yes.
There you
Mike
go.
And his wife Lolise Babb.
There we go.
Put the thing together.
Yeah.
And It was a little corny, but and plus it was a magical time. We were, we had gone through, what was that? I'm going to say 82, 83, 84, 85, and all of a sudden in 86, it was magic again. It was like 1980 again, and then we're doing this thing too. So all I remember was Tuesday. I went over there and I was still sore from the game, and I had to do this wrestling or fighting with. They had some stunt guys who were the bad guys. I broke a sweat. I was working hard at it.
And it's amazing. And that was like your answer to the Super Bowl shuffle. Like they did their little thing over there in Chicago, and then Cleveland comes back with the Masters of the Gridiron. It's just such a great piece of nostalgia.
Then I remember we had a debut where it came out, and went in there, and I go, I have no idea and it was so entertaining. We were laughing more or less at each other, but it was fun. It was, and again, when folks ask me, what was the most magical play? But really it was, when you'd be with your teammates and you put that effort and all that energy towards winning, and all of a sudden you'd start winning, and everybody in the town was looking for that too. So wherever you went, it was good. And it was magic. And fortunately, I had a couple runs like that where, I had 1980 and 1986, 87, 88, even, I think it was 90 or 91.
Yeah, because you were one of the few who bridged all of those.
Those are the times I remember more than the the individual stuff. The individual stuff was good, it was fast, but you kind of like, you could have 2 sacks, and then immediately, to be the right kind of player, you go, I got to get 2 more. And then you didn't get 2 more, and you go, well, you got 2, but I didn't get 2 more, and you've always got to be reaching ahead when you do that. But when you're winning, it's magic, and all of a sudden, a lot of those little issues go away.
Clay, let's talk a little bit about the individual stuff, because I mean we're huge proponents, obviously, of you getting into the Hall of Fame. It's long overdue. We've been talking about it on this show for way too long. It's time for it to happen. What would it mean for you to get into the Hall?
Again, this is a tough one, because I always, the team thing, I became a really good player when I realized how my teammates were reacting with me. In other words, where my help was, or where was my strength, where was the hard part. If the back was going to do something, which way would I need to play him? So I realized, in a pretty good amount of time, I mean, not long, but I think I became aware that you can't do anything without your teammates. And it was much more enjoyable doing it with them, winning, accomplishing goals. And so when they talk about, me, it's a hard thing. Now, that being said, no, it would mean the world. And my daughter came to me, Jennifer, 3 years ago. She goes, Dad, you belong in the Hall of Fame. And I go, look, I loved football. I got to play for 19 years. I was in the locker room. I formed some incredible friendships in a tough situation, and to kind of put the individual goals to the side and go for that was the magic. And so I don't want you to, she said, I'm going to try and promote you a little bit. And I said, I don't want you to do that. It's fine, and then she's kind of okay. Then the next day she comes by and says, I'm going to willfully disobey you, which I haven't done very much, being a good daughter. So my brother's in it. I would be honored. It would be unbelievable, but I've just had some great memories and great teammates. And 19 years, really. I went into the NFL, as a 22-year-old kid, and I came out at 41, but I was still 22, because you got to kind of keep, that youthful thinking. And I've slowly been catching up, but I think I'm still ahead of the game because of that.
Hey, Clay, I have to ask you your thoughts on the current Cleveland Browns right now. We have another new head coach in Kevin Stefanski. There's been a lot of talk about what this new Browns team can be this year. Curious what your thoughts are, being a former player and a former Cleveland Brown.
I don't know what the future holds for them. I know they put together a good amount of talent. And individually, I had one son, with the Packers who was with the Rams this year, and then another one with the Eagles. So I have fortunately been unable to follow the Browns the way I really would have liked to. And now, I'm kind of getting back into it now. Yeah. And the way I see things working is nothing happened when I couldn't follow them. And now that, Clay's going to be done and all, now when I can really invest in them and know everything, then they're going to take off. So that's the way it's going to work.
Well, we will owe it to you
I
then.
believe that. Yeah.
I love that.
It's got to work that way. And also I've been around football in Los Angeles, but I've been around football in Atlanta. I've been around football in Philadelphia. Good grief. Okay, but in Cleveland, the fans are just, they're the best, and they always have been. And they care. They're emotional, but they always treated me well. And when I would, if I was at the gas station or the 7-Eleven or whatever, they were informed, and they wouldn't say things, you missed that tackle last week or something like that. And you didn't feel like you were alone. And then you go to some of these other towns, and there's a much smaller percentage of the population who are involved, but in Cleveland, you feel like everybody's in it with you. And I think they are. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's why, now that I'm coming back and I can devote 100% to watching them and knowing what's going on and everything, they got to win.
Now, any chance, I understand from your daughter that you've taken up and for years now been a snowboarder, pretty avid one. Now, are you any good at snowboarding, Clay?
I'm the best.
That's not an easy sport at all.
I want to hear a story. So
anybody
I have a friend. So my last year, I was a month and a half shy, or 2.5 months shy of 41 my last year. So I knew, okay, well, actually, I had an opportunity to play another year, and I turned that down. And my friend goes, hey, we got to go snowboarding. And I said, okay, I can go now. So I go up there, and it was a kind of an icy situation. It wasn't ideal.
Where were you snowboarding at?
Pardon?
Where were you at?
Where would I snowboard at?
Yeah, where were you?
Okay, they're local mountains, actually in Southern California. Okay. And then you can go up in mid-California, Sierra. What's Mammoth? I don't know. The big mountains. Okay, I can go there. Then you can, if you really want to go, you can go to Colorado and places like that.
Yeah.
But so I went to the local place. Now it's mostly icy, so I wasn't going to take any lessons because the guy I went with, I go, look, I'm a football player. I know how to do this stuff. I came off of the chair, fell down immediately, got up, fell down, got up, fell down. I must have gotten up and fallen down 100 times. But finally, after about 3 hours, I had 2 runs where I kind of got the rhythm. And then I got in my car. I had about a 2-hour drive home. I stopped someplace to get something to eat. I got out of the car, and I fell out of the car. My 2 knees were swollen. My elbows were swollen. I had whiplash. My lower back I was just beat up. I got home and went straight up and went to bed. And then my buddy calls me, and it's late at night. I've slept like for 2 hours. So he calls, and I go, "When are we going again?" And it was great. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Then I couldn't get my boys to go because they were all playing football. Yeah. So I went last year up to in Colorado, where they have these incredibly long runs, and at night I feel a lot different than I did when I was 40 or 41.
Now, a far cry from any of that, you've got Boston Mills Brandywine up there in Northeast Ohio. Have you ever skied or snowboarded out there?
No, I haven't.
You'd be disappointed.
I didn't think that'd be very good for my career to be doing that kind of stuff back there.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, next time you're in town, since you're going to come in town now for some of these Browns games, I'm going to challenge you. We'll take Tiger, which is the toughest hill there at Boston Mills, which isn't very tough relative to the stuff that you've been on. And I will challenge you I will ski, you'll snowboard. We'll see who gets down first. Will you take me up on that?
Well, you can go faster on the skis.
Well, you'd be surprised. I'm not that great, so you would think so. So I also wasn't a professional athlete.
I'll have to get my snowboard back there. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. Well, Clay, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on our air with us. You're one of the greats. Obviously, everybody in Cleveland loves you. It's just, you go to the stadium and you see all the jerseys still, the faded 57 jerseys. You see that all over the place, and that's well deserved. I'll tell you, you inspired the entire town when you were here, and you continue to. I know when you came back in town for the Ring of Honor, they gave you a really warm reception, and hopefully we get you into the Hall of Fame, because you absolutely unequivocally deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and this show and a lot of Cleveland, and should be all of Cleveland, is behind you on that. And I know you're going to be in town March 22nd for the Pro Football Hall of Fame Fan Fest. I know we're going to expect a lot of Clay number 57 jerseys. Any last thoughts on what you're going to be doing there at the Fan Fest?
Just meeting with folks, yeah, and we'll rehash some old victories, and even some old losses. Now that sometimes over time you can kind of change history a little bit, yes, if you don't fudge it too much.
We can revise history. We do it all the time, so why not a little bit of that?
Absolutely.
Clay, thank you so much. Get those tickets online. March 22nd to come out to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and see Mr. Clay Matthews. Thanks, Clay.
Hey, thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff from Clay Matthews.
Yeah, I'm going to take him, Dave. I'm going to take him on Tiger.
He's like, this is live, and I have to say yes to Chris McNeil. It's fine. He's talking to Jen right now. He's like, he really challenged me to snowboarding online.
Right now, I'm getting a text from Jennifer saying he absolutely does not agree to your terms on that at all. No, correct. He was a great sport, as I knew he would be. I mean, everything that he talked about there, it's amazing. I have such fond memories of him in the playoffs, and then Masters of the Gridiron. I mean, if you haven't seen that on YouTube, you have to go back, watch Clay Rock in that. And just, it's so amazing to see just the support that he gets and how he's inspired everybody in the town just years later, even, and him and his great family. So fantastic stuff there.
Yeah. He's so humble. Like you could tell he's almost uncomfortable talking about how good he was, just because he doesn't want to brag at all. And like, that's why all of Cleveland needs to get together and really pump this up to get him into the Hall of Fame. David Baker, Hall of Fame. It's time. It's time to get Clay Matthews in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's get into some current Browns.
All right.
A little tough going from Clay Matthews, but that's okay. Let's do it. Presented by our friends over at the Cleveland Clothing Company.
Dave, the snow has finally hit Northeast Ohio. I don't know if you've noticed that or not.
I sure have.
Cleveland Clothing Company has your cold weather needs covered. Check out their new selection of waffle knit scarves and warm buffalo plaid flannels, or go with their limited edition emergency Cleveland weather puffer jacket. Boy, that's tough to say.
It's
but
nice.
really cool to buy, right? So be sure to visit them at any one of their locations, downtown at East 4th, in Akron at the Summit Mall, East Side in the University Circle, and over here by the Big Play Studio at Crocker Park, or online at clevelandclothingco.com. Be sure to use the promo code BIGPLAY20 to get your 20% off, Dave.
That's right. And if things don't turn around here in Cleveland, they've got some new drinking shirts.
It's exactly what we need.
That's right.
That's what we need.
That is right. All right. So we got a new coach. We were eating chicken nuggets. We missed out on this, but Kevin Stefanski, new head coach, and he is putting together his staff right now. So breaking news, not really, but Browns plan to hire Joe Woods as defensive coordinator. I think probably a good hire there. Bill Callahan, a lot of people around the league are talking about this guy, offensive line coach. I think it was Damian Woodley on Twitter was raving about him. He was with the Redskins last. So Callahan is the offensive line coach. Chad O'Shea is wide receiver coach. And Stefanski keeping special teams guru Mike Pryford, awesome guy for special teams. He crushed it last year. Doug Coleman as well, who's on his squad. And then our guy, Stump Mitchell.
Yes.
Sticking with the running backs. Love Stump Mitchell. Coolest looking coach of all time.
Absolutely. This side of Bob Wiley.
That's right. But so Stefanski in his opening press conference, he mentioned he might be doing the play calling. He's open to having someone else do play calling. Where would you guys like to see this kind of fall out after the Freddie Kitchens, Hugh Jackson, over the last few years?
I'd be surprised if he ends up doing the play calling. From everything that I've kind of heard around the edges, I think that you're going to see him bring in an OC who's going to do the play calling as well. I really feel that that's going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see. As with everything else at the Browns, if they do throw a curveball, I won't be that shocked.
Half the teams in the league have the head coach call the plays. Kind of a surprising number, I guess. But then again, they're not all rookie head coaches.
That's right.
Bree, this is the hire you wanted.
That's right.
A lot of people in Cleveland are starting to love the hire. Everyone's warming up to him. After that press conference,
a lot of wives and girlfriends pretty happy now.
Yes,
that we might get more female followers of the Browns.
Yeah, he's getting stalked at diners in the morning on Twitter. Yes. What would you like to see with Stefanski his first year here?
I just appreciated that he was open to having someone come in and call the plays. So like that right off the bat was he wasn't saying I have to be the one that calls the plays. I'm going to be the one to call the offense. So just the fact that he even has an open mind about it is, I think, a step in the right direction from where we were a year ago.
Yeah, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. Like, you remember Hard Knocks with Hugh Jackson? He's like, I'm in the head coaching seat.
I'm driving the bus. Yeah, I think that's one of the things I liked about Kevin Stefanski is the fact that he doesn't seem to have a huge ego. And there have been a lot of stories that have come out, even during his time at Minnesota, where he completely, stepped out and said, nope, I'm willing to have someone come in and be above me and help do the offense. I mean, he just seems like a rational, level-headed guy. And
it's weird.
That's going to be a nice change. And that's what I was worried about all along with Josh McDaniels is the ego and would it get in the way?
You have to fire everyone right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they made the right call. I think
Yeah.
they made the right call.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
There's Chris.
you never know,
there he
right?
is. Yes. He seems fine. How's that,
And,
Chris? Is that better?
From a superficial sense, he is good looking, so we've got that,
I was
right?
gonna say, and he looks fine.
Yes.
Right. I'll just beat Pre to that road there.
You're not the first guy, Chris. There's been a lot.
Right. Now we got the Kevins in town between him and Kevin Love that we got to hear about.
They kind of look a little bit alike, right?
A little
Yeah,
bit.
they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of them's got to get fat again. We can't have two of those guys running around.
Two good-looking Kevins.
That's right. Good stuff.
All right, so we're still searching for our next general manager. It's, oh my God, 3 months away for the draft. We've got the 10th pick overall. You guys worried at all? We're taking this long to find a GM. There's a lot of candidates out there. Got the Minnesota Vikings guy coming back in for another interview. Got Barry out there. What's going on? I feel like we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, you would think so, but the Browns want to tell you that they're sticking to their process. They're doing their due diligence. I think that Dave Podesta is probably going to be making a lot of these calls anyway. So a GM coming in is not as pressing as it would otherwise if Dave Podesta is going to be given the powers that he is. That I think he's going to have in control of this team.
Bree, you were talking on Twitter about analytics guy, football guy, those cliche terms.
The debate.
You can't have them as the same person. That's not a real thing. Football guys don't know analytics, right, Bree?
No, I'm debunking that theory.
I know,
you can be both. It's like, I don't understand, like, at what point in this world that it all of a sudden became football guys versus analytic guys. And the reality is both of them can both coexist. So we're fine. Everything's fine.
Do you think we're jaded? Do you think we're jaded by?
Somebody should tell Haslam that. He set up the organization for pitting those people against each other.
Well, I think.
He really
do
did.
you think we're jaded because our analytics guy is a baseball guy originally?
No.
No.
No. I think. Listen, I work in a very analytical job, and analytics are analytics. It just depends on how you're using them. You can move into different roles and work in different businesses, but as long as you can read the numbers and understand what they mean, then it's just all about being smart about things. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't know why we are so hesitant to let Depot have some say in it, because the last 2 years he's actually went against what they've done. And those didn't pan out. So,
right.
Hey, let's give him a shot. If it doesn't work out, we start over. It's what we do.
It's also the year 2020. Like, everybody's in the analytics business if you're in business.
Big
Everybody does that. But for some reason, and through no fault of our own as fans, I'm serious when I say this. Jimmy Haslam set up an organization where you had Dave Podesta on one side, you had John Dorsey, you had football guys on one side of the room, you had the analytics.
We don't need
guys
those nerds.
That's right. Never the two shall. And when they would interact, it wouldn't be good. And it's like, why did you do that? I don't get it. I understand having diverse backgrounds, but why did you treat it that way? It's fine to have a very, a lot of different opinions at the table, but at the same time, it just seemed like he always pitted them against each other. And I never understood that, because I'm with you, Bree. This doesn't have to be just like what the Browns do with everything else. We make it harder than what it is. It's just numbers. It's just using what's in front of you. It's a matter of how you do. It's not different camps or different ways of thinking like they're trying to make it out to be.
Well, you got to think, like, in 2020, every football guy is an analytics guy, I guess, except for maybe John Dorsey.
I know, right? Like, we had the one that wasn't.
Correct, yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone uses this. So, yes, I think that, Bree, you've debunked that very nicely on Twitter. Well done.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So what are you guys looking for in a GM? Does it matter? Bree, you want a football guy?
I'm fine with the balance. Like, at the end of the day, like, you need someone that can evaluate football talent, but also looks at what the roster needs. And I think John Dorsey was actually really good at evaluating talent. He did bring in some questionable players on the team from just a character standpoint. You can look at Antonio Callaway, like, that didn't pan out. He made some risky moves. Sure, the players had raw talent, but he wasn't great at hiring the people to put the talent together and coach them for wins. And I think John Dorsey's biggest downfall was probably Freddie Kitchens. Like, that is what sealed his fate. And it's unfortunate that it had to work out that way. But I'm looking forward to bringing someone in that hopefully has the same shared vision as his head coach, as well as the rest of the organization, because when you go back and look at it, it does feel like Freddie Kitchens and John Dorsey were just two peas in a pod, kind of doing their own thing and not really wanting input from anyone else.
Yeah, and I think when we're looking for a GM, like, I just want a guy who's an awesome scout, has a great scouting department, and can pick players. Like, I feel like Paul DePodesta has the rest in line. and we have a
Right.
structure. We just need someone to go out and find football players. That's it.
Yeah, that align with the vision
Yeah.
of what the head coach, is building.
Right. Seems pretty easy.
It does, doesn't it? We should just own a football team. I don't know. What are we doing on this? We should just go buy a football team.
That's a good point, Brie, because why can't we be like the Packers? Like, why do the Haslams have to own it? Why can't we just go out and buy shares and own
right.
the team like the Green Bay Packers? I would love that.
That would be amazing.
Chris, would you buy a
Just
share
start
of
it
the
up.
Cleveland
We need
Browns?
to start it up. Let's get the GoFundMe
Buy
rolling.
low. Buy low.
No problem. No problem. We'll raise what? $1.5 billion? We could do that.
That's right. Will it into existence. Just retweet it, Chris. Just retweet it.
Absolutely. A few retweets and we're there. Bada boom, bada bing. No
That's
problem.
right. Chris, what do you want in the GM? Do you care?
No, I want somebody who can work with what we've got.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alignment? Are you
can
gonna
work
talk
with the
alignment?
organization? Not with the players as much as work with the organization. Somebody who's going to work well in that role. Somebody that's not pitted against our head coach or pitted against Dave Podesta. Let's get everybody kind of moving in the same direction. Then I would be happy with that, which I kind of thought we had before, but every iteration of our moves, it comes out a little bit different.
All right. So the NFL Pro Bowl is this Sunday in Orlando. Do we care at all?
No.
No, we don't.
The
We could
answer is
probably
no.
just move on. But we got two guys, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, Joel Petonio added as a replacement as well. Did the Scottish Hammer make it? I thought there was a rumor out there that he was like
he didn't.
someone
He
got sick or
snubbed.
something, or no? Did I make that up? Shoot.
No, he got Dave Matthews out of that bad boy. Everybody wants him in there, but they're just not putting him in. Come on. Ridiculous.
So I would say that was a snub,
How
right?
about Myles Garrett? Let's put Myles Garrett in there, too.
Yeah, didn't they take Miles off the ballot? Because I think we had him pretty high up in the voting when it
Well,
opened.
yeah, so
We
Chris,
did.
you were sending it out. A bunch of people were sending it out. Go vote for Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
And he was
they had
up
to take
there.
him
And
off.
then, they took him off.
They
Come on,
took him off the
NFL.
ballot. I
Yes.
swear he would have
Weak.
won that position group. There's no doubt about it in my mind.
100%.
How
Yeah.
hilarious would that have been?
It would have been great.
They could have had a helmet hitting contest. I don't know.
That's it. They do all those stupid skills competitions. Just add that in there. It'd be great.
Oh, why not?
How
Why-
fast can you take
NFL doesn't
someone's
have a
helmet
sense
off?
of humor, those jerks.
Mason Rudolph would not do well in that one. You guys watch this at all? I haven't watched it in like a decade.
Oh, no.
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah, just on the background. I actually kind of like the games that they do, not the actual game, but the skill contests and stuff. I actually do find semi-entertaining.
I like the skills challenge in the NBA more than the actual All-Star game.
It was funny.
Yeah, same.
This is how pathetic I was as a kid. You'd watch the Super Bowl. Back then, the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl. You'd go watch the Super Bowl, and I always tell myself as a kid, no, football's not over. They still have the Pro Bowl. So I'd watch the Pro Bowl on Sunday night there on ESPN back in the day, and after the Pro Bowl would be over, I'd start crying because I knew the football season was
over.
officially over. And it'd usually start earlier on when I realized they're not actually trying. And it's oh, I forgot they don't actually try in this game.
That's right. It's like the WWF.
Yeah, because as a kid, you get sucked in. The commercials make it sound like, oh, yeah, you're going to see all these players and who is actually going to win. Ooh, AFC versus NFC. And you get to the game, you're like, oh, that's right.
How long have they been in Orlando? I thought they were going back to Hawaii. That's such a downgrade for these guys. No offense to Orlando.
It's the Pro Bowl. What you going to do?
That's enough Pro Bowl. So we had Conor McGregor fighting this weekend back in the UFC, and Myles Garrett, along with a bunch of other players, Christian McCaffrey, Tom Brady, showed up on the broadcast Saturday night. He was sitting next to another guy, Baker Mayfield. No mention of Baker Mayfield whatsoever on the broadcast. Did you guys kind of like that after all the commercials this past year, or do you think they kind of snubbed him a little bit there?
Oh, it's an absolute snub. Come on.
Nobody recognized him with his hat. That's what it was.
It was the hat.
Bree, why was
Or
he,
maybe
wear,
it's 'cause
why was he wearing
fat.
that hat? Why was
They
he
don't
wearing
It was
recognize
like
that?
Carmen San Diego.
Oh, that was a weird hat. Was that his wife? Was that his wife's doing?
I think it was Baker, honestly. I think he didn't want anybody talking about his weight, so he put on that hat.
I think you're right. I think you are right. And Njoku was there next to him too. Kind of a good
Yeah.
sign. That's a good sign.
He wasn't a scratch at the last second out of nowhere.
No, yeah, it was
Coach's
fantastic.
decision, just decides not to go.
Yeah, hey, a little chemistry out
Can
there.
I ask you guys? I don't know if you saw, but there was a debate going around in the office today about who wore the worst hat this weekend. So Baker Mayfield was an option, and then I don't know if you caught this, but during the 49ers and Packers game last night, they panned to Rob Lowe, who was
Yes.
wearing
The NFL
NFL hat.
Yes. What is he thinking?
which was amazing. So we were all just debating, like, was Baker Mayfield's hat worse, or was Rob Lowe's NFL logo hat worse?
Where do you even buy that? I guess NFL.com, but I bet NFL.com was just refreshing their order history, and they're like, we got one. Someone ordered an NFL hat.
Like, I'm a fan of all 32 teams.
I just want
Bravo.
to see a good game. That's all I'm here for. I just hope it's a nice, clean game and everybody has a good time.
Did you see the NFL reporter? God, I forget her name, but she was on a flight with Paul Rudd, going to the Chiefs game. And
Is it my favorite meme ever?
Did they?
Yeah,
They
so,
do the look at
Brie,
us.
what's the meme? What is it?
Yeah, the gift. Hey, look at us. Look at us.
Who would have thought? Not
Who
me.
would have thought?
And so
Not
she
me.
goes up to him on the plane. They're on the plane going to Kansas City together, and she's like, I really want to do it, but I'm not going to. So she started just tweeting it. And then she went up to him on the plane and was like, I was going to do the GIF, but I didn't want to embarrass you. And he's like, oh, thanks a lot. And then they were both in the locker room after the Chiefs won, because she was reporting on it, and he's supposedly a Chiefs fan, I guess. And he just goes up to her and does the GIF.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
Amazing.
Incredible.
That's awesome.
He's awesome.
Of course he does.
That's right.
Guy could do no wrong, really.
He's incredible. All right, hearing a lot of people are done with baseball. The Astros have been busted for that huge MLB cheating scandal back to, 2017. Swept the Tribe in the ALDS in 2018. Many Indians fans killed the team. I think Kluber. Does this change anything for you heading into, this season? Looking back at 2018, what are you guys' thoughts on what's going on with the Astros?
This is nothing new. This is.
No,
I mean,
it's been around for
the
years.
The extent of it may be new, but I went back and I still had a graphic that I made for the Houston Asterix, and that was from 2018. That was from that series. So we were well aware that Houston was doing some things back then. And, Bauer had been talking about it. Clevenger had been talking about it. Everybody had been intimating it. And, now it's coming out that they're cheating. But we've known this for quite a while. So I don't know that it changes the narrative as much as just intensifies what we already knew was going on here. To me, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the steroid stuff. We knew that these guys, there's something going on here. And we found out later, oh, okay, that makes sense. And now I understand what was going on. It was the same thing with Houston.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, let people do steroids and just cheat. Who knows? Where do we go from here?
Well, there is a tradition in baseball. I mean, that's where baseball is a little bit different than like football or basketball, in that cheating is a part of the game. It really is. It's just a level
time.
of cheating. Stealings. I mean, seriously, there's gamesmanship and then there's cheating, and there's a bunch of unwritten rules when it comes to baseball. So it's really where that parses out. Stealing signs, is that okay? Well, yeah, that's okay up to a certain level, or up until we start including electronics. Then it becomes an issue.
Right.
There's all these unwritten rules that baseball has on top of the written rules that makes it kind of interesting, a little different than the other sports, because a level of cheating is tolerated in that sport. It's just once you pass that line, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. Does it change?
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No,
I mean, that's
no,
part
you're
of baseball.
completely right.
Cheating's been around forever in
It's
baseball.
the unwritten rule. You're allowed to cheat. Even Trevor Bauer mentions like, you do everything that you can do to get an edge in the game, but a bunch of buzzers on your chest.
Yeah, I
Give
feel
me a
like I feel like
break.
the wires and the mics,
awful.
like that's extreme.
I feel like that's way worse than the steroids.
Well, it seems
Yeah.
like every 10 years we have something, right? You go back, you have pine tar, you have corked bats, right? You got steroids, and now we've got all of these new electronic ways of cheating. So, it's just wave after wave. As we progress as a society and come up with new ideas, baseball is right there with cheating scandals, and they're doing whatever's out there, incorporated into the game and trying to get an edge.
Yeah, but you can't wear your own cleats if you're a player. Like it's just the hypocrisy of it all,
Right.
of like keeping it this like tradition. Well, what is the tradition?
Who
Baseball,
knows?
too. That's
hot
baseball.
dogs and ballpark mustard
Sign stealing.
and sign stealing. That's right. All right, let's do some would you rather's. All right, Chris. Let's keep the cheating going. Would you rather win a championship but have it come out that you were cheating to win that championship, or never win it in the first place?
If
gonna
you're not cheating, you're not trying. Give me a championship, baby.
Oh,
Any way I can get it. Any
wrong.
way I can get it. Come on. Like, if we found out, I don't know, if for some reason the fumble doesn't happen and we find that Ernest Biner had some stickum that was illegal on his arms, does anybody at this point go, man, I really wish that title would have been clean?
It's
I mean,
true.
come on,
It's true.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all hypocrites. Everybody says, oh, no, you can't say that. Oh, come on. Yeah, when push comes to shove, people would do a whole lot to win a championship, especially in this town.
Yes. I would be fine winning one and vacating it later.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah. At
fun.
least
That'd
give
be
me a
fun.
chance to have the banner for a little bit. And plus, it doesn't even matter. They're not even vacating anymore. We're only talking
No,
NCAA
it's-
with that. I mean, MLB's not taking away anything from
They
Houston.
should, but
Yeah.
they're not going to. There's
Yeah.
no way. Yeah.
Not even really punishing the players. They're just going after management.
Yep. Oh, well. Bray, I got one for you. Would you rather attend the Pro Bowl, MLB All-Star Game, or NBA All-Star Game?
I'm probably on an island, but NBA All-Star Game.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. That's
Yeah.
good.
I feel like that's probably the best one out of all of them right now, right?
Yeah, I like the 3-point contest, dunk contest, the skills challenge. I don't know, it's fun.
I think I'm with you there, which is really sad because they're all so awful.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, some nice stuff they do for the city, I guess, for the MLB All-Star Game.
That
coming
was
to
cool.
Cleveland
Yeah,
and-
that was cool having it.
Yeah,
here.
some nice events. You have some celebrities coming to town. So you do have some things around the game, but the games themselves just are nothing. And MLB used to actually have a game that mattered back when they didn't have interleague play.
Right.
And then ever since we've gotten interleague, it's like less of the intrigues in there. They've tried to make the game matter by giving home field and stuff in the past, but it's like you just can't recapture that magic in that game. And it's sad because that was the only one that really mattered at one point.
I will say I did go to the Home Run Derby this year, and
Did you? Was it fun?
It was incredible.
Was it?
It was the rookies going at it. I forget the guy's name. Vlad Guerrero's kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had a couple of beers, which made it a little bit better, but I think even without him, it would have been good. Let's get
So there
some
you
bold predictions. Bold prediction for this week. Chris, do you have one for us?
Put me on the spot here.
Putting you on
This
the
is the
spot.
week the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to move Kevin Love this week.
Oh, it's about time. I think we just lost to the Knicks today by like 30.
Oh yeah, we did. It was bad.
Yeah, we did. We hung with them until the third quarter.
All right,
Yeah.
you kicked Dorsey out of town, so here we go. Kevin
It's true.
Love.
Kevin Love's the next one. You just can't have two good-looking Kevins in the same town at the same time. I mean, unless we bring in, like, do you remember Kevin Mitchell? He was not a good-looking Kevin, but he was awesome. We need to bring in a Kevin like that just, you know, the commoner like you and I, Dave,
That's
that
right.
we can relate to.
The Freddie Kitchens named Kevin.
Common folk.
Bree, what's your bold prediction for the week?
I don't have one.
Perfect. Good work.
Thanks.
Good homework. Way to go.
Yeah. All right. I am going to say that Kevin Stefanski's next meal that gets captured on Twitter is going to be at
Skyline.
Yard House at Crocker Park.
Oh, wow. There you are.
There we go. Bold prediction there.
Not going Swenson's or anything like that, huh?
No, I think he's going to keep it. He's going to work his way into those. I don't think he's
Nice.
ready for a Swenson's or a Slyman's or a Barrio
Slyman's.
quite yet.
Oh, I'm hungry now. You shouldn't have ended with food. What are you doing?
Let's get the music. Let's go eat.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Clay Matthews. See you guys next Monday at 9 p.m.
Podcast on the air. Boom shakalaka.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I ain't no goddamn doctor.
Boom shakalaka.